Let's play a quick game. You wake up tomorrow and everything feels different. The sky is green. Time moves slower. People speak, but the words make no sense. You check your reflection, and it's someone else. Now pause. What's happening here? This isn't a sci-fi movie. This is the kind of question philosophy loves. It asks, what is real? How do I know anything? Who am I? Welcome to philosophy, the oldest mind-bending practice known to humanity. It's not just about bearded Greeks or impossible riddles. It's about diving into the questions that define existence itself. Let's explore what philosophy really is and why it might be the most important and misunderstood pursuit of all. First off, the word philosophy comes from the Greek philo, meaning love, and sophia, meaning wisdom. So philosophy is literally the love of wisdom. Not bad, right? But that phrase can sound poetic and vague. What is wisdom? And what does it mean to love it? Philosophy in practice is the art of questioning everything, not to be difficult, but to uncover truth. To ask not just how the world works, but why. Why are we here? What is good? Is there a right way to live? These aren't questions with easy answers, but philosophy insists they're worth asking anyway. To get a grip on philosophy, think of it like a tree, not a rigid system, but a living, growing organism with many twisting branches. One branch is metaphysics, which asks, what exists? What is time? Is the mind just the brain? Metaphysics is like trying to peek behind the curtain of reality itself. Then there's epistemology, the study of knowledge. What can we know? How do we know it? Can we ever be certain of anything? If you've ever doubted your own thoughts, congratulations, you've been doing epistemology. Next is ethics, the study of right and wrong. Is it ever okay to lie? What do we owe each other? What is a good life? Ethics is where philosophy meets action. Another key branch is logic, the rules of reasoning. Logic teaches us how to build arguments that hold up under pressure and how to spot the ones that fall apart. Then there's aesthetics, which explores beauty, art, and taste. What makes something beautiful? Is art subjective? Why do we cry at music? And political philosophy, which asks, what is justice? What makes a government legitimate? Do we owe anything to society? Each branch leads to different questions, but they all spring from the same trunk, a desire to understand the world and our place in it. Okay, but why go through all this mental acrobatics? Why spend hours debating invisible ideas? Because philosophy doesn't just give us answers, it changes the way we ask questions. It sharpens the tools we use to think. Imagine a toolbox for the mind. Philosophy fills it with logic, clarity, and the ability to see through confusion. It's not about memorizing what Plato said or repeating Kant's arguments. It's about learning how to think, not what to think. And in a world overwhelmed with noise, opinions, ideologies, misinformation, that skill is priceless. Now you might ask, wait, isn't science better at figuring out the truth? Good question. Science and philosophy are like cousins. They both want to understand reality, but they ask different kinds of questions. Science is great at measuring, observing, testing. It tells us how the world works. But philosophy steps in when we ask why. Why does science work? What counts as evidence? What is truth itself? In fact, many scientific breakthroughs began as philosophical problems. Before Newton developed his laws, people were asking, what is motion? What is space? Before Darwin, people debated what life is. Even today, science depends on philosophy to define its limits and its meaning. Without philosophy, we can gather data, but we wouldn't know what to do with it. Let's get real for a moment. A society that stops thinking deeply, that avoids difficult questions, becomes vulnerable. Without philosophy, we're left with dogma, echo chambers, and shallow certainty. Philosophy doesn't offer easy comfort. It can make you uncomfortable. It challenges your beliefs, your identity, your assumptions. But that's the point. It's not meant to be easy. It's meant to be real. Socrates once said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." That's not arrogance. It's a warning. If we never stop to reflect, we risk living on autopilot, consuming, obeying, reacting, without knowing why. Philosophy is a flashlight in the dark. It doesn't always show a clear path, but it keeps you from stumbling blindly. You don't need a dusty library or a PhD to be a philosopher. If you've ever looked up at the stars and wondered why we exist, you're already doing it. Every time you question a rule, weigh a moral choice, or search for meaning, you're doing philosophy. It's not about finding the answer. It's about learning to live with the questions, to be okay with uncertainty, to keep seeking, even when the road gets hard. Because philosophy isn't just a subject, it's a way of being alive. So what is philosophy? It's the pursuit of truth in a world full of illusion. It's the discipline of thinking clearly when clarity is rare. It's the courage to ask, even when answers are nowhere in sight. Philosophy isn't something you learn once, it's something you practice. Every time you choose to wonder, to question, to seek. And if that sounds like a lot, good. It means you're awake. Welcome to the oldest and boldest conversation in history. But here's what most people overlook. You don't need all the answers to live meaningfully, just the courage to keep asking questions. The moment you stop seeking, something inside dims. Philosophy keeps that spark alive, the part that won't settle, that wonders, is there more than this? In a world racing towards certainty, philosophy invites you to slow down, think deeper, be more human. So next time you feel lost, don't run, lean in. That discomfort, that's the door, and philosophy is the key.
If this made you pause, if you're drawn to deeper truths and quiet strength, then you're in the right place. Like, subscribe, and keep exploring with us. See you in the next one.